Today we're setting up the new Trezor Safe 5 hardware wallet. Hey, and welcome to Crypto Eula. There are many hardware wallets on the market, and the Trezor Safe 5 is something special. Trezor was kind enough to provide me with one, so we can take a look at it here and set it up together. Let's take a look at how it all works now. This is how the Trezor is delivered, and it's important to note that there's a security seal here. That's why it's very important. We'll get another security feature in a moment. So it's crucial that this is sealed, just like the protective film around it. Although, in theory, the film could be removed as long as this security seal here is properly intact. That's a very important point. And then we can open this Trezor. I'm doing this with a pair of scissors, making a cut here, and then the film should come off quickly since there's still cardboard around it, so nothing will happen. You can see here that I nicked the cardboard a little. That's not a problem. Then we just take off the film here, and there we have the Trezor Safe 5. I specifically wanted it in green. I said it's something different for a change. Then just open the security strip here. If it works, it's pretty easy, but it has to be closed. A very important point. That's important with Trezor. This is what it looks like, and then you can open it up here. This is what it looks like. Oh, I even did it wrong. So that's how it's set up. Of course, the other way around, sorry. And there's already dust on it because I put it on the wrong way. Yeah, that's how it looks. A Get Started book, that's what it looks like. Let's take a quick look at it. There you'll find all the important information for anyone who wants to know, again, how the whole thing works. How can you get started properly here? What do you need? What else do you need to download? Connect the whole thing to your PC right away. Important, next topic, security. The security strip on the device, we'll take a look at that in a moment too. Here it is, a very important topic. It also has to be sealed. We'll take a look in a moment at what happens if it's open. And then we can get started with the whole thing. Wallet backup, that's an important topic. Here, 20 words. Trezor works with 20, not 12, not 24, but 20. But that's not a problem at all, because these 20 are now also supported by other devices like Ledger, but also Tangem, for example. So that means if the Trezor stops working and you say, I wasn't satisfied with it anyway, then of course first, if you were satisfied, you can always buy a new one, or you can easily use everything on other devices. Just as a note, in this case, we'll stick with Trezor. 20 words, which we will write down here in a moment. And all of this twice in case you want to store it, plus a few stickers, which I always think are cool. HODL with a Trezor logo on it, and here, be your own bank. So be your own bank, a Trezor logo. And here again, Trezor as the Statue of Liberty with the Bitcoin on top. Very nicely done. A few stickers, always something cool. Maybe also again for giveaway topics. So now let's move on to the topic of cables. And you have to be honest here. The topic of cables, it's a USB-C to USB-C cable. Why? How come? It's meant for you to use it with your smartphone, which is of course cool, because now I can connect my smartphone here and say, look, no problem at all. Connect the smartphone here and the device on the other side, and then I can use it with my app. It's a nice idea, but I think a lot of people will still use it on their PC, at least for the setup, and maybe even in the long run, because I don't think everyone will walk around with a device like this with the cable just to use their cryptocurrency on their phone. I mean, in the future, I think things are moving further and further away from the PC. Of course, things get interesting with a cable like this, but I think a USB-C to USB cable would have been good too, but they're not doing this without a reason. It's probably because the demand for smartphone use is higher. The biggest criticism I've read so far about this whole device, and also heard from many people who use Trezor frequently or primarily, is that the cable could be longer. So the cable is relatively short, but I would argue that if you're using it with your phone, you usually have everything close by anyway. So I probably have it lying here on the table and then everything is close together. That's why I think a longer cable could actually be bothersome in that case. So, as I said, depending on how you use it, the whole issue of having a long or short cable could be annoying on one hand, or on the other hand, it could be too short or not work properly. Then we have this nice device here, and that's it for the packaging. That's why it's kept relatively small as well. Look here, the device fits in there perfectly. Here, finger for scale, so you can see the packaging really isn't very big. The device feels very nice in the hand, very small. Security strip here again, very important. And if you're already thinking, wow, a handy device you can use on your PC or phone. If you'd like to buy a device like this, then check out our wallet comparison at cryptocurrencies.com. There you'll find all the pros and cons, and you can easily get to the shop. Additionally, with the code KE10, KE in uppercase 10, you get a 10% discount. Yeah, that's a cool deal. Not everyone has that. Many just have this tracking link and end up here. But with us, you get a 10% discount. I set that up on purpose. Then there are the older models, the Model 1, the very first device, or their Safe 3, or their current one, which I'm showing here in the video, the Safe 5. It comes in different colors. For example, it also comes in a kind of purple. No, I didn't really like that, but a green one is something special and I really wanted to have it. That's why I got a green one here. And then there's also a black version. And this is what the whole thing looks like. The introduction. We're going to set it up right away, the security features. And as you can also see in our wallet comparison, it's always quite important to me. Open source is an important topic. And having its own display, Tor network connectivity is also very interesting. So, no secure elements, which is also important, like the biggest criticism of the ledger, for example. So, the Safe 5, or rather the Trezor, are very cool devices and of course have been on the market for a long time. If you want to buy the whole thing and, for example, have decided on a Safe 5, you can also add a capsule here, the backup capsule. This backup capsule secures your words. You can simply write them down here, but what happens to the paper if you lose it, tear it, or even if it burns? What then? It's gone. And it doesn't protect against water either. But with, for example, a backup capsule that Trezor offers here. Of course, there are different providers, not just Trezor, but also others. We have links to them in the video description or in our link tree. These offer additional protection mechanisms. Here, for example, is the capsule where you have these plates. You can add this as an extra layer of protection. Then you also have a bundle which only costs a little more. And then, as mentioned earlier, if you pay and use the code KE10, just apply it and you'll get a 10% discount on the device. The device costs 169 euros, so you save 16 euros and 90 cents. Of course, taxes are added on top. The price shown is without taxes. Taxes will be added at the end and possibly shipping costs as well, depending on how little you order and above a certain order value. I mean, even for orders over 150 euros, shipping is free. Additionally, you'll find a comparison table on our wallet comparison at cryptowell.com. Feel free to check it out. There you'll find all the wallet providers we've compared with each other. Back to the Trezor 5. By the way, here's the color on it. So basically the color is just here, green, black, or the purple one you just saw in the shop. So otherwise you don't really have much to do with the color. Alright, and now we can get started and connect the whole thing. Wait, it's not working. That's because of course the security element is still on here. And now we'll see. Once it's opened, a word should appear. At least it should. Here, this word. No, it's not a word, but rather some sticker residue. It should actually say valid on it. Walled. Yes, that's what it should show here, at least in this case. It didn't come off as cleanly as it should have. In any case, this always leaves behind some sticker residue automatically. Of course, you can just scrape that off easily, that's no problem. Just use a bit of finesse here, or better yet, some fingernails. Then you can just scrape the whole thing off pretty easily, maybe even with a cloth or, well, you can see here, it's already coming off at this first spot. Yeah, so just scrape it off a bit and then it's all gone. And of course, it's important to make sure nothing gets in here. Otherwise, it could actually be dangerous if there's any adhesive residue left inside. Once you've cleaned it, I've just used a dry cloth, which picked up the adhesive residue. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Then we can get started and connect the device, or rather, start the whole process. My cable is also pretty short here, so I have to set it up properly. So get started at Trezor.io start. There you can check everything out or start the whole process. And this is what it looks like when you go to Trezor.io start. There you can download the browser app, meaning you can start it right in your browser. We can do that here. Or you can download the desktop version so you have a desktop app. You can do it whichever way you prefer. We'll stick with the browser for now, just to show you how it works. Then we need to install the app, set up your Trezor, and move your coins. So it all sounds pretty simple, and we're going to do it together now. We confirm everything. Your data is private. What data do we collect? This is all explained here again. We don't want to allow anonymous data collection, so we proceed without allowing data collection. Connect your Trezor device, so basically find your Trezor. Then we search and we already find a Trezor 5. Connect the whole thing if it wants to. Yes, it does. Trezor 5 green burial. There it is already. At this point, nothing is displayed on the device yet. So we see there's nothing yet, but we can already get started here. Set up my Trezor takes about 15 minutes. Wow, but of course we want to do it. Install firmware, that's where it starts. Firmware is being installed. On the device, we can also see that the firmware is being installed, or rather a new update, or the latest features are being installed right now. Let's just let that run through. Now the firmware is installed and we need to unlock the whole thing. And then it continues in the app. At first I thought I had to press something here when this touch display appears, but no, it actually continues in the app, or in this case in the browser. Select the device again, reconnect the Safe 5, and then everything should actually continue. And now it continues on the device. It gets unlocked, continue in the app, continue language briefly appeared there. Firmware is being installed. We're continuing again in the browser now. Let's take a look at your device. So this check is important for the first steps. Then let's get started with the whole thing. Your device is being checked. Confirm everything again on the Trezor. Tap here to continue and tap to confirm. Yes or on there. And this is something special, which should also be mentioned. I still have a film over it here, which you can remove. The device has Gorilla Glass. Gorilla Glass? What does that mean? That's really important for this device because Gorilla Glass ensures that you can hardly destroy this screen. It's made or tempered so hard that you can barely scratch this device or this screen. Even though there's a film over it right now, I want to keep it on for the start, of course. Nothing else will appear on the device for now, but things continue in the browser. Your Trezor 5 is now ready. Get to know Trezor? Do we want to get to know it? I think we've already gotten to know it here. For example, up here is the warning that the Trezor support will never ask for your words. Very important, we skip all of this and the tutorial is cancelled. Continue. We can now restore a wallet here, and starting the recovery is relatively simple, just as I mentioned at the beginning. For example, if you have lost your device and want to enter new 20 words here, assuming you have them, then you can choose between the different options. 12, 18, 20, 24, and relatively new is this topic, 33 words. It's pretty crazy, but that's not what we want. Instead, we want 3. Go back, and we don't want to restore on the Trezor device either, so we'll go back again. We want to create a new wallet, but only if you've seen if, for example, you lose the device or the device is broken, but you have your 20, 18, or 24 words, whatever is available nowadays, then it's no problem at all to restore everything. Or, for example, if you switch from another device, whether it's Tangem, Ledger, CQX, or whatever else is out there, and you switch to Trezor because you say the reviews are great, the device looks fantastic, it's small and handy, and the Gorilla Glass is impressive, for example, then of course it's also no problem to switch here using your private key, that is your words. You just saw that 18, 20, 24, and 33 words are supported by Trezor 5 in this case. And now we're going to create a new wallet. And now I'm curious. So we have different backup options here. I would always go with the standard option. Multi-share backup is really an advanced system. You can do it. I'll stick with the standard type because I claim that I can manage to securely store and manage my 12, 18, 20, 24, or however many words myself. Because be your own bank. Be your own bank. This is a very important topic because only with these words do you have access to your wallet. And if they are stored on an exchange and the exchange gets hacked, they can be gone, just as unfortunately happened recently with some exchanges. Then we move on and say, create a wallet with the standard backup so that you initially use 20 words to create your wallet. Create wallet, create a new wallet. Now we continue on the device and now we go in, tap continue. I agree to the confirmation, or rather I confirm the Trezor terms by holding to confirm. I have done that. Hold to confirm wallet creation. Keep holding. There's a circle running here. Did you see that? And it even vibrated. Processing. 1, 2 seconds. Done. Please wait. And now we are creating a wallet. Very important. If we now display the words here, this is a very important topic. This wallet is not actively used by me. That means you could log into this wallet using the words you see in this video just like normal, but you won't find anything there because this wallet is created only for video purposes and afterwards the device will be reset anyway. So in other words, it will be wiped again so that in principle, if I want, I can create my own wallet there or a new one that I then use myself or not. So this wallet creation and the words are only for explanatory purposes. After that, we select create my wallet to continue and then the whole process starts. To the wallet backup. What do they want from us now? Continue to the wallet backup. Oh, very important. With the wallet backup, you can recover your assets. Yes, understood. Don't take a photo of the backup or ever save it digitally. Who would make a video or take a photo of themselves creating the wallet? Important. Store your wallet backup in a safe place and don't share it with anyone. I mean, who would share that or, for example, make a video of it and even show the words in the video? And then we go to create wallet backup. In this case, the wallet backup is our 20 words. Very important, tap to continue. 20 words will be generated. Have them ready because there will be a prompt. Never show the backups, recovery seed. Write down the following 20 words and then we can get started. All right, let's get started. Let's grab a crypto Yule pen and then we'll get started and write down these words. While I'm doing this, we'll continue in time lapse. The electronic device, which I had just recently acquired and was still in the process of setting up, identified me and subsequently referred to me by the unusual and somewhat informal moniker of SAC. This interaction certainly left me with a sense of surprise and a touch of amusement regarding its programming. Not the prettiest handwriting, but it's written down. So all the words are written down. You saw it as well. And now we go on. I have written down the 20 words in order. Hold to confirm. The whole device shakes. It also vibrates. So, very cool. Check seed. Let's quickly check your backup. And that's exactly why. You can't proceed without writing them down, because without writing them down, you can't move on to the next steps. So writing them down is very important. Check seed. 5 out of 20 words. Crush. Click on it. Sorry. My mistake. Here are the 20 words. We have to write them all down again here. Bam, 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 bam. Because I made a mistake, but they should be the same. Slice and adult at the end. Exactly, I clicked too quickly. Hold to confirm. The whole thing vibrates again. Ooh. Check seed. Let's quickly check the seed. Check seed. Word 2, in this case, crush out of 20. 3 are proposed. I was going a little too fast just now. We're going to crush now because it's the right thing to do. Word 11 is category. Let's select it, and word 20 out of 20 is adult. And we're already done. Wallet backup completed. Tap to continue. Don't forget your PIN. Now, a very important topic. We now have to enter a PIN. You'll be prompted again briefly in the browser with continue with PIN, set PIN. Then again, do everything on the device. Namely, activate PIN protection. Do I want to activate PIN protection? You should, because if your device is lying around, anyone could simply connect it to their Trezor app, whether on a PC or a phone, and then they could easily access it. So now we set the PIN. In our case, what's important here, don't choose something obvious. Not your date of birth. It's written somewhere on the internet, someone could find it out, maybe even ask ChatGPT. You entered it on Facebook years ago, and now ChatGPT could easily find it. Your children's birthdays aren't good either, nor is your wedding date. Ideally, or probably best for you, is to use 6 digits. 6 digits are easy enough to remember, and then you should be safe. For the purpose of this video, let's use 0099. Save the whole thing, 00. It's also changed here. Very important. So the numbers are now in different places, not the same as before. 0099, just for fun. The first digit is 0, the last is 9, done. We'll write it up here as well, just to be sure. 0099. Very important, 0099. It's just so you have the first and last digit. Alright, now activate the PIN. I could have just used 1, 2, 3, 4, but do you know why I didn't? I'm afraid the device will tell me you're not allowed to use that. Let's continue in the browser. Continue. Activate coins. Which coins do we want to have? So, there is a guide where you'll find all the different tokens. ERC20 Standard, Polygon, BNB, Arbitrum, Base, Optimism, Solana, Cardano, Ethereum Classic, XRP Ledger, Stellar, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dogecoin, and Zcash. Additionally, there are various testnets that you can activate here. For example, if you're active here, there are also many ways to use coin farming, for instance with Firm on the testnet. There were many new tokens that you could farm or test, for example with DeFi and so on, and you could then generate airdrops. That's why it might be worthwhile to install a testnet here as well if you're active in that area. According to information from Trezor itself, over 1,000 cryptocurrencies are supported here. Of course, if you consider just the ERC20 tokens that you can use here on Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, and Base, Optimism, as well as all the tokens on Solana and the BNB Smart Chain. If you install all of them, you can have a lot of tokens here, but of course, many networks are still missing. A minor point of criticism, many people would like to see more networks supported here. Now let's go ahead and install Solana, BNB, and Ethereum in this case. Yes, then just complete the setup. Setup is complete. There's nothing else showing up on the device itself right now. And then everything continues in the Trezor suite. You can now also change the start screen here. You can also change the name of the device, for example. Right now it's called Trezor 5. You could just enter anything now and then reactivate everything here in the Trezor suite. But we want to continue here. Enable the option only show after Trezor is disconnected to check your balances. We don't need that. Skip. All right, got it? And now everything gets started. This is what it looks like in the Suite app. Nothing is being displayed on the device itself right now. It's just a bit like Trezor 5 is unlocked if I want to unlock it, but we don't need that right now either. It just needs to be connected. Then here we have our dashboard with all our wallets. As I said, it's also possible here to use the ERC20 tokens, of course. They will also be displayed here once they are available. Important, if you want to receive something, you first need to create a wallet address. But we can also see here, when we go to Bitcoin, it says Bitcoin 1. Here, we can also add an additional Bitcoin address, for example, according to the latest standard or another standard, such as Taproot. Add Bitcoin account, and now we have a Taproot account here. So, very important, this is also possible here. We go to Bitcoin 1 and now want to receive Bitcoin here. Now, we have a complete address here. It is currently being generated in this case. This is what it looks like. It's even separated here, but we can also simply copy it. Now, don't use the QR code and send €1 here just for fun. That doesn't make any sense because this wallet will be reset again. So here we have the different addresses, or rather, here is the wallet address. It is also displayed again on the device in this case. To continue, tap to confirm everything so that the device is present, or rather that we are in the app. The receiving address is now confirmed. Here we see the full address increasing, total received, not yet. And then we can display the address here in this case. There it is, and we can even add a label. That means you could now say, a label goes here. That works again directly on the device. And first, you confirm everything on the device, tap to confirm, and then we could add any label here, maybe even a logo. All of that would be possible. It's the same for companies. If we want to receive something, we confirm everything here again and receive it via the company network. Then we have a long address here, complete the address, or in other words, everything is done again on the device. We have to confirm everything again, and then the receiving address is confirmed. We can copy it again, and then we have it there, our company address. BNB Smart, Solana, and so on. That's how it works as well. And if, for example, we want to receive something here, it wants the ERC20 token standard. Of course, it's also important to mention that this is ERC20 in this case. That means I can receive tokens here, everything related to ERC20. The same applies to the BP network, that is BIP20, BNB Smart Chain, or also on the Solana blockchain. It's always important to mention, if you're self-custodying with a hardware wallet like this, then you also need the main currency, like Ethereum, BNB, or Solana, if you're operating on these three chains, in order to pay network fees. That means if I have €20 in Ethereum here and also have some ERC20 tokens, then I can use that to pay the transaction fees, for example, to send them to an exchange if I want to sell them there because maybe they're only listed on that exchange. If I don't have any ETH for an ERC20 transaction, I can no longer transfer it away. But if I have cryptocurrency here and want to sell it, for example, then there's also the option to do this via the Trezor Suite app. Up here, it also says send, receive, and also swap. That means I can even just swap back and forth here, no matter which companies. We actually don't have anything enabled here, at least. So what do we want to have here? We want to have something in the company network. We want, I don't know, to swap from this cryptocurrency to that one. All of that is possible here with the swap feature. But I can also buy and sell. That's possible here as well. For example, I can buy Ethereum here through their providers. If I say, I really need Ethereum right now, that's no problem at all. For example, I can buy it here for €100 or of course for less. I can also buy it here for €25. I think there's a minimum amount. I believe it's 25. That's the minimum amount. The best offer will be found, and then there will be different providers here. This whole thing here, for example, is powered by Infinity, and right now, Revolut has the best offer. For €25, you receive this amount of ETH. But you can also buy and sell other cryptocurrencies, and you can do DCA, that is dollar cost averaging. That means, for example, you can set it up monthly, weekly, or whatever you have available, yearly, semi-annually, and easily buy cryptocurrencies here, which will then be sent directly to your hardware wallet, in this case, the Trezor Safe 5. So you can buy, sell, swap, and even do DCA right on the device. So a lot of advantages. Additionally, there's Gorilla Glass, so you can't scratch anything here. A very good touch display, responds very well, and even vibrates when you press or hold it. So Really well done in this regard as well. And with support for all the ERC20, BEP20, and Solana blockchain token standards, it supports over 1,000 cryptocurrencies here. Not that many blockchains, it has to be said at this point. That means if you only operate on the main networks in the crypto space, such as ERC20, Solana, BNB, or for example, just want to hold Bitcoin, then this device works very well for that. If you're looking for many blockchains because you're invested in a lot of them, then feel free to check out our wallet comparison page. There you will definitely find a hardware wallet that supports more blockchains, or rather supports more blockchains if you are more invested there, or if you want to have a multi-blockchain wallet. But I think this video shows quite well that the Trezor Safe 5 is a very good wallet in this case, with a very good touch display, additional secure elements, Gorilla Glass, and is actually a very simple device, for example, also for mobile use. If you say, I actually just want to use Bitcoin, that's no problem at all. There is also a Bitcoin-only version, and remember, with the code KE, all uppercase KE10, you get 10% off all Trezor devices. This doesn't just apply to the Trezor Safe 5, but also to the Safe 3 and the Model 1. Additionally, there are more options, for example, the bundles here. You can take a look if you're interested, or even here, a Model T with these Bitcoin features, and even a legacy bundle with the crypto tag, which we also support. Very cool thing. There's another 20% discount, and with the code KE10, there are also offers there. So check it all out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Trezor Model Safe 5 in this beautiful green. I hope you can make use of it, and if you're interested in this wallet, which of course you can disconnect from the power at any time and then it's offline. And of course it's also important that you keep your words safe. They're going away now, but that it just calls me a jerk, nasty this device. With that, thank you for watching. Check out the shop, check out our wallet comparison, and I'll say, see you in the next video.